It's a Friday morning, and you can feel it in the air. That buzz that only football brings. The place is gearing up, folk are talking, and every wee sign points to something special brewing. Preparations are in full swing ahead of tomorrow's game, and optimism's the order of the day. We're no just looking at another 3 points here. We're staring down the barrel of a potential title clincher. This could be the weekend that it all comes together, that moment we've been counting down to for weeks. So why not have a positive blether for a change? A funny thing is the team's not even played recently, but still there's been no shortage of drama. Narratives form whether there's a game or no, and there's always chatter in the wind. I caught a few Champions League matches the other night, Tuesday specifically, and had my eye on that Arsenal tie. Decent game, sure, but Madrid left me wanting. You'd expect more from a side with that pedigree, wouldn't you? But the real shift came when Thierry got subbed on. Made a massive difference, brought a spark that had been sorely lacking. Declan Rice take pure class with the set pieces. He's got that whip and band that makes you sit up a bit straighter. Then on Wednesday, it was PSG against Villa. Now that was entertainment. Proper football, two teams going at it fearless and fluid. You watch them and think, this is what the game's all about. They've been some of the most exciting sides to watch in Europe this season. If that ends up being the final, I'll be glued to the telly. Real entrant stuff, none of this cautious, cagey play we've seen too much of lately. Mind you, it's not all been rosy. Football's been taking a fair bit of flack lately. Some of it justified, sure. Folk frustrated with VAR fixtures a lot. But in the midst of that, when two quality teams face off and give it loudy, it reminds you why you fell in love with the game in the first place. Sadly, one of the recent European matches, naming names, was a total letdown. Drab, drawn out, and ultimately forgettable. Wasted 90 minutes if I'm honest. There's always the hope going in, but this one fell flat. And here's the thing, there's been some strange results lately. Nights that just feel off you can one side's been on the ropes, losing game after game, outplayed and outfought. Queen's Park got the better of them. Then it was Motherwell and St. Mirren as well. And then you look at another club, one that had a man advantage for most of their match and still couldn't put it to bed. That's not just poor luck. That's a deeper issue. It's like we're living through a weird spell in football right now, a run of form across clubs that just dismay. Add up. If you wanted to be kind, you'd call it unusual, but honestly, it's downright worrying. Take the Rangers, for example. Last week, I didn't catch their match live. Was busy with other stuff. Checked the score around the 75th minute. Saw it was 1-0 and thought, right job done. Put the phone away, felt fairly content. Then later found out the goal had been chalked off and the penalty missed. Chaos. And the thing is, it's not the first time this kind of drama's played out for them in Europe. Almost like deja vu. I've tried to let it go to focus on what matters now, like the upcoming tie with K-Monic, but it's hard to dwell on these repeated patterns. I mean, even us, the Celtic fans, we've been reflecting a fair bit this week. It's been quiet. Too quiet, really. No real communication from the club, no statements, no updates. The situation with Joe is another sore point. I mentioned it earlier in the week after rewatching some of his recent performances. The numbers don't lie. We've lost to Hibs Rangers and now St. Johnstone right after those discussions popped up. Makes you wonder if we've jinxed ourselves a wee bit, I even joked about banning myself from bringing it up again, but deep down it's more than superstition. I've always tried to be the glass half full kind of supporter. Always looked for the positives even when results were grim, but maybe that's part of the problem. Every time I lean into the optimism, it seems to come back to bite me. Maybe it's time to shift the mindset, get a bit more grounded, a bit more critical. 2025 has been a bizarre year for Celtic. Hard to wrap your head around, really. There were stretches last year where I genuinely thought we were watching the best football we'd played in years. Since the early Rodgers era, at least. Not necessarily better results, but the pure enjoyment, the flair, the joy. It was all there. Now, though, it's like a switch has flipped. We walk away from games, whether we're watching at home or at the stadium, feeling deflated. And if there was ever a time to rally, to dig deep and reset, it's now. Not just to shut folk up, but to reignite that belief. And maybe to lift a wee curse or two while we're at it. Thing is, I've been out the loop a bit myself. Haven't been on here in a while, probably over a month. Been busy with life. Getting married this summer, so you can imagine the chaos. Still kept up with the games, though. Still watched every match. But this season's been strange, no two ways about it. We're on the brink of a treble, yet it still feels like something's missing. The cup's still hanging in the balance, and the league, well, it's close, but it's no wrapped up yet. 6 matches to go, and there's work to be done. What makes it different this time is that in seasons past, once the title was all but secure, the team had a tendency to ease off a bit. You'd see that drop in tempo. But I don't think we'll get that this year. That match at Ibrox looms large. Much more significant than it would have been in other seasons. That's a reflection of our 2024 form, plain and simple. We let things slip, and now we've got to fight to the finish. Still plenty at stake and no room for comfort. The truth is this upcoming match at Ibrox means more than it ever usually would. And not just because it's a derby, it's the timing of it, the state we're in, and the pressure that's built up over the past few months. If we'd managed to get the job done against St. Johnstone last weekend, we'd all be buzzing right now, counting down the hours till Saturday with a pint in hand and a grin on our faces. But instead, there's this weird cloud hanging over the support. We know the league's almost done and dusted, but we want to feel like we earned it. We want that final push, that performance that reminds us who we are. And if the lads start slow on Saturday, if they play like the title's already won, you can bet the atmosphere in the stands will turn sharp. Folk won't stand for it. They'll want a response. Something to cheer, something to believe in again. Because that's where we're at, caught between nearly there and not quite enough. A strange place to be, if I'm honest. Speaking of strange, the whole Visgaard situation has taken another wee turn. Brumby's president, Jan Beck Anderson, came out and basically said they turned down offers for the lad in January. He never confirmed it was Celtic who came knocking, but he made it clear that no one offered the kind of money that would make them budge. Fair enough, I suppose. They want to hold on to him till summer. But there's clearly interest, and you'd imagine we're in the mix. It does raise the question, though, are we bringing in a striker this summer based on recent form? Is no daft to suggest we might need to. Last time we chatted about it, I said probably no. I didn't want to be too harsh on Dyson, but let's be honest. His recent showings haven't exactly lit the place up. Against St. Johnstone, he was quiet. Then came Adamo, and within minutes he was breaking lines, creating space, getting that ball through to James Forrest, who should have buried it. It's performances like that which shift opinions. Suddenly, Dyson's position doesn't feel as secure. There's been a lot of noise online about him. Folks saying he's not changing games, not making enough of an impact. And while I still think he's been decent overall, we can't deny he's not at his best. Which brings us back to Visgaard. His name's been floating about for a while, and if Brumby are starting to talk publicly, maybe they're softening their stance. Meanwhile, we let Kyogo go slap bang in the middle of a Champions League campaign. That still feels like a mad decision in hindsight. I don't see the striker role as the top priority personally, but clearly the club does. And if bringing in someone like Visgaard puts pressure on Adamo to step up, then I'm all for it. Competition breeds quality, or at least it should. If Adamo ends up third choice, he'll have to fight for his place. That's the kind of environment we need. Now all this talk about recruitment makes you think, has the recent drop-off changed how active we need to be in the summer window? I'd say so. Depth and balance ain't where we thought they were. Early in the season, we were building up to those games against the young boys and Bayern, and there was still this belief we had a strong squad. But now that confidence has been rattled. Middle of a park especially looks out of sync. Nicholas Kuhn's dip in form has been noticeable, and if Dyson's being used more centrally, our width takes a hit. It's why I'm starting to think that striker's spot should be a bigger focus. Dyson's best when he's wide. You see it in the numbers. 2/3 of his 30-odd goals this season came from out wide. Move him central and we lose that threat. And while Dyson's done well in spells, I don't think that should stop us from bringing in fresh firepower. We can't kid ourselves. This season hasn't been the success we'd hoped for, not in terms of consistency. When Kyogo left, many thought Dyson would grab that chance to shine as the main man. But with Edward struggling and Dyson not hitting top form, it's felt like a missed opportunity. There are other spots that need attention too, especially with the qualifiers coming up. You look at the kind of teams we might face and realize we can't go into those ties half prepared. That means making moves now, not wait until the last minute. Start sorting the squad early, get focused sharp, and give the manager a proper chance to work with them. It's wild how quickly things can change. Start of the season, or even just after the summer window, we were feeling good. It brought in Schlupp, and there was this quiet confidence going into the Bayern game. A few folk were calling for better bench options. Fair right enough. but the first 11 looked strong. Fast forward 6 weeks and a half, the squad's been questioned. Take Kuhn, for example. A month ago, people were talking about him as a £30 million player. Now you'd be lucky to get 10 by some fans' reckoning. Engels, too, looked solid at first, but folk are getting impatient. And I still think these boys can turn it around. But it's clear now that a bit of a refresh is needed. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. A teenage prodigy, a historic debut, 2 fractures, and now a potential move to Celtic? The story of Lennon Miller is anything but ordinary. Whispers have been swirling around the Scottish football scene, and they're getting louder. Lennon Miller, Motherwell's midfield sensation, is reportedly on Celtic's radar. At just 18, Miller has already carved his name in the Fir Park folklore, becoming the youngest player ever to feature in a major competition for the club. But now, the question isn't just about what he's done, it's about where he might be headed. Next, Parkhead could be calling. Miller's rise has been meteoric. Starting in Motherwell's academy at just 7 years old, he broke into the first team a day after his 16th birthday. By the time most teenagers are finishing high school, he was captaining his side at Hampton Park in a Scottish League Cup semi-final. His composure, work rate, and eye for a pass have turned heads far beyond Lanarkshire, even after suffering 2 major injuries, a fractured patella and a hairline ankle break. His maturity and presence on the pitch remained undiminished. Celtic's interest is no surprise. With a squad that thrives on developing young, technically gifted talent, Miller fits the mold. His midfield intelligence mirrors that of some of Celtic's recent success stories, and his leadership qualities at such a young age make him an even more attractive prospect. Though still under contract with Motherwell until 2026, a move to Glasgow's green and white side would represent not just a leap in his career, but potentially one of the biggest domestic transfers of the season. If the deal materializes, Lennon Miller's journey will shift into an entirely new gear. From being a promising local talent to standing under the floodlights at Celtic Park in front of 60,000 roaring fans, his next chapter could define the future of Scottish football. Keep your eyes on this one, because the next time Miller takes to the pitch, he might just be wearing the hoops. Hello, fan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.